came here several times with my father when I was little, but stopped eating here as often after growing up. I hope the food here will be to your taste.
Oh, don't worry. We haven't eaten at a hotel like this in a while.
In that case, I'll go order for us first.
Ooh, everything looks so good.
Why, of course. Go ahead, try whatever you like. If the food's good, I'll make a group reservation for the rest of Spina di Rosula next time.
And if it's not?
Well, then I'll still bring everyone. Albeit with only one dish per table.
You, sure have your own way of doing things. Oh, we called this a farewell meal, but we could also treat it like a victory feast, right? We did just win that case after all.
Oh, true. Very true. In that case, boss, we'll have another 2 dishes.
Huh? Paimon didn't mean... Speaking of cases, do you think that the mastermind behind the serial disappearances will get caught soon now that this has all happened?
Well, we've certainly taken a big step forward, but I feel that's about it. We know that there's an organization that means to dissolve these young women, but we still don't...
If it hadn't happened right in front of us, Paimon wouldn't have ever believed it.
Right? Yet it was because this was such a preposterous notion that the investigation could never really move forward before.
Ugh. If only that guy could have finished speaking!
In such investigations, even the smallest step can seem like a yawning chasm if the trail of clues is cut off. To be honest, I don't have high hopes for any follow-up that the authorities might conduct. It's not that I don't have faith in their ability, it's just that a different perspective is required in some matters. It's easy to guard against and deceive a single narrow perspective. A shift in thinking is required at such times in order to produce a breakthrough, which is exactly why the Spina di Rosula exists. Those highfalutin folk are not all-knowing. That's why we exist, to seep into the cracks where filth falls through, where their watch fails them.
Seems Paimon thought things were simpler than they actually are.
It's all right. Well, this was supposed to be a farewell meal. Let's talk about something else. Like, what are your future plans?
That's true. We didn't have a chance to speak to her after the trial.
I see. So, your primary objective, which has been foiled so far, was to have a chat with the Hydro Archon. I've heard that there's a long line of people waiting to meet Lady Farina. I suspect you'll be waiting for quite a while.
Yeah, we've heard that she's super popular here in Fontaine, and that it'll be tough getting any of her time.
Well, would you consider some more, unique ways? Perhaps even methods of, let's say, questionable legality?
Guess that's Spina di Rosula's boss for you. Chock full of sketchy ideas. Well, what did you have in mind?
Well, one way would be to infiltrate a performance troupe at the Opera House, only to abandon your act at the play's climax and ask to speak to her after the performance. I'm sure Lady Farina would be eager to see the ending, and would agree in order to finish watching the play, don't you think?
Could you suggest something a little more practical? This plan seems pretty hard to pull off. We'd have to go learn how...
All right, here's another. Find a way to conceal yourselves under her bed. Then wake her up in the dead of night and demand answers. Don't let her go back to sleep until she answers all your questions. I can personally testify that this one works. When I'm sleepy, I'll do anything as long as I can finally get some sleep.
That might work, but that's not...
Valid point. I overlooked that part. I was just thinking about leveraging a person's desire for sleep. All right, no more joking around. Perhaps you did defeat her in court, clearing citizens of hers from false accusations. False accusations she had nearly upheld personally. I imagine that she feels quite ashamed about the whole thing.
You mean that if we catch her while she's on a break, she might be too embarrassed to refuse? Oh, that does make some sense. Why don't we give it a try after this meal? You know.
Huh? Paimon, did you drink my Fanta?
Was this your drink? Sorry about that. Paimon wasn't really...
No, it's fine.
Alright. Honestly, Paimon wouldn't recommend Fonta anyway. It tastes kind of salty and icky.
Is that so? Huh. Well, in that case, we'll have to blacklist the Fonta here then. If we're all finished eating, then I'll go pay.
Yeah, we're oh, so full. Paimon can barely float anymore. Nah, that would be so... normal. You know, like you.
Okay. As for expenses this month, we're...
Hey, Navia! What are you doing
Oh, nothing. It was just a meal, you know? Nothing the Spina di Rosula can't cover.
Let's get ready to try...
So this is goodbye, huh? Well, if you do encounter any other trouble in Fontaine... in any case, I wish you smooth...
See ya! People around anymore. Looks like that boat...
Vache.
Looks like we're back here again. Huh? Traveler? Are you hearing voices again? Ugh. That's kinda spooky. Are you sure we don't want to come back in the morning?
Vache? Vache.
Hey, why are you still walking towards it? Huh? Hang on. Paimon can Hey, Traveler! Stop walking! Come on, wake up!
Vache, are you... my dear Vache? No, wait. You seem to be someone else. Do you know... Wait, my memories feel like they have been washed away like a flood. So many fragments dissolved amidst the tide, never to be recovered. How much have I lost? How many things that I once held dear while on land have I since forgotten? Yes, that is what I was once. But now, I am but the I do not know how I came to be like this either. I only vaguely remember being covered in light blue water, and then all grew dim. I also remember going to many places. I loved adventure, loved exploring places of... No matter where I went, Vache would go with me. But now, we can no longer go back. No! Our reunion no longer has... The thought of me gives him no succor. So let it lie for... If you meet Vache, tell him not to look for me. Tell him perhaps that is so. As I was submerged in the waters, losing consciousness. If only I could have comforted him. Told him that I did not suffer. Is that what you call it? It was a state of neither fear nor frenzy. With only... I could also liken it to being a thirsty person who drinks water for the first time, and only then sees how they have lived for so long in a world of endless want and anxiety. I think I hear your companion. It's time for you to go, I think. Farewell, then. I am glad that you were able...
Wake up! Come on, hurry! Navi is outnumbered!
Demoiselle, look out!
Dear God, it's a whole army of Gardamex. Chlorand? Quick, now's our chance! I should thank you for lending us your sword there, Chlorand. But before I do so, could you explain how you managed to show up here?
I followed you.
I believe that following someone without their knowledge is actually called stalking, is it not?
Mr. Callus's last wish was for me to ensure your safety, and I will not betray his trust.
Do not speak of my father!
Sorry, Demoiselle.
Thank you for your aid, Miss Chlorand, but do keep an eye out for your manner of speech. I believe we all wish to avoid unnecessary emotional harm.
Sorry, I did not consider you.
Whatever. What else do you know? How did you—
I doubt I know much more than you, but I believe that the mastermind behind your performance tonight will almost certainly attract their attention.
I'm sure they've known about me. To be honest, I'm shocked it's taken them this long. And what about these Gardamex? I thought only those associated with the Maison Gardiennage could control them.
None of these mecha have serial numbers. I was sure to check a moment ago. They are not the ones used by the authorities to enforce the law. I can only conclude that some powerful or wealthy party must have obtained them via illegal means.
What? Your point being that they're out of Spina di Rosula's league, then?
Yes. Be careful, and do not—
I will continue investigating, no matter what. We will— Regardless, thank you for your help.
I do not think that they'll strike again anytime soon. So I shall stop following you. Good day, all.
Right. I suppose that's the best news we've gotten today.
Demoiselle, I believe that Miss Chlorand was being sincere with you. If...
I know, I just... She's...
Oh, thank goodness! Paimon thought we were done for! Those Gardamex came out of nowhere while you were unconscious, and Nadia and her gang saved us! Oh, and there was that champion duelist named Chlorand who came out to save us too! We got lucky there. Paimon probably couldn't have fought them off otherwise.
Oh, come now. Forget all that polite talk. That wasn't really a farewell meal we had as such. We're still
It will take 50 years for me to match Demoiselle's magnanimity.
If it were me, I would have joined the Spina di Rosula on account of her goodwill.
All right.
Actually, Navia, how did you know that we were in danger?
Well, to be honest, you're the one who tipped us off, Paimon.
Huh? Really? Paimon contributed?
Yes. All thanks to you grabbing my drink by mistake. After we parted ways, I was on the way back to one of our bases that the Fanta tasted kind of salty and icky. Fanta only comes in sweet flavors, so how could it have tasted salty? The color of the drink, if I...
So the Fanta had been spiked with water from the primordial sea?
Yes. So, if you hadn't drunk that cup for me...
Spina di Rosula is preparing the grandest of awards for you as we speak for saving the boss.
Huh. Really?
I sent people to Hotel de Boer to investigate. But that's when I figured out that you might be in danger.
But why would they go after us, too? All we did was defend Linny in court and help clear his name. Ugh.
Well, you did foil a plan that they were probably pretty proud of, and almost got their name in the process. Speaking of which, did anything strange happen when you...
Well, it can't be a coincidence that the Traveler fainted just now. She said that she heard... Oh, and this time Paimon heard it too! But it was real faint. Does that mean the primordial seawater raises someone's sensitivity to hydro when it's used on...
That doesn't sound like too much of a bad thing, to be honest.
New intel? While you were out cold?
Well, let's hear it, shall we? Oh, that is important. Vache. That name doesn't ring a bell. I suppose he hasn't stepped forward as a witness in court. Since he saw that young woman dissolve, he was at least but he never gave testimony or any information regarding people dissolving in the primordial seawater. Yes, thank you. Oh, you...
Well, you did say that our farewell meal didn't really count. And besides, we're in this now whether we like it or not. You're not gonna let those people...
Demoiselle, do try not to look quite so pleased. You are the...
You talk too much. Well, in that case, we also have some plans to go over, and hopefully we can deepen...
Don't worry, you two. With us around, our...
It's right up ahead, but let's make sure...
I've been keeping watch, Demoiselle. I haven't spotted any...
Very good. But let's not let our guard down for now.
I shall find rooms for our...
Thank you, Malus. Now, let's continue traveling.
period. You gotta keep up with the changing times.
This isn't true unless all the stands way more fun than I thought.
Finally on the road.
So, this is your base? It's not quite what Paimon imagined.
Your accommodations have been arranged. Under the present circumstances, I can confidently say...
Well, our funds have been a little... After all, we don't allow illegal or unethical profiteering. In fact, our funds often come from citizenry who support us.
Seems like it's tough times for everyone. But if you have the...
To be honest, our financial situation was a lot...
Your father... He was the...
Demoiselle, if you'll allow me...
No. I'll explain it myself. I suppose I couldn't run... My father's name is Callus. Yes, the same 3 years ago. He was accused of murdering his own friend. But he chose a duel to defend his honor, instead of standing trial. He died in the duelist's ring.
Oh no.
But I do not believe my father was a murderer. I'm sure at the time, I believed that if he only stood trial and was duly investigated, something... But strangely, he not only requested that even after being seriously injured, to the point where he could be deemed as having lost the duel, he refused to surrender. 3 years later, how could he protect his honor if he's dead? If any, the closest piece of info I have is that my father had been investigating the serial disappearances case at the time of his death.
Ah, so that's why you're so determined to get to the bottom.
That's right. I've also tried to investigate the murder my father was implicated in, but I haven't found a single new clue in my countless reviews of the investigation records. However, I believe that if the murder case is... I must know what really happened. Was my father coerced? Framed? Even if he really did kill his friend, I must get to the truth. If only he'd been more open with me when he was still alive. He even hid the fact that my mother died due to complications when giving birth to me. And now, here I am investigating his death. You really are a handful.
Demoiselle, please, if there is anything I can do, anything at all.
I also will never believe that Master Callus murdered anyone. Master Callus did so much good in life, yet even our supporters decreased greatly due to that.
Wait, if Callus was such a good man, wouldn't people at least...
No. Perhaps people just revel in that kind of drama. It's not something... People love watching the evil turn over a new leaf, but they also enjoy watching good people fall into an abyss from one slip-up just as much.
But how could... never mind. If...
There is one other thing. Master Callus's opponent in the duel was Ms. Clorand.
Oh, her? Well, then, isn't that as good as saying that... Yeah, that's not the sort of...
Ms. Clorand has always placed great emphasis on the honorable nature of the duel. She knew Master Callus beforehand and greatly respected him. There was only ever one...
It's not that I don't understand her at all.
Don't worry, Navia.
Afterward, Ms. Clorand told us that at the start of the duel, Master Callus requested that she ensure Demoiselle Navia's safety. Yes, that is our understanding.
Oh, Papa. What madness drove you to ask the person who killed you to take care of me? All right. Anyway, that's the information I wanted to share with you. Even if it did sound... thanks. You two should...
Yeah.
Please, relax and get some sleep. Whether it be responsibility for Spina di... This won't do.
Paimon slept so well. This place feels almost too safe. Huh? Navia?
I sent them back to Poisson. It's Spina de Rosula's place of origin, and where we have our headquarters. There's not much for them to do here at the moment.
Paimon gets the feeling that you're just trying to get them off your back. But never mind that.
No, I just returned after going out for a while. I did some investigating yesterday.
Wait, so...
How could I after...
guess Paimon...
Unfortunately, this name seems to have been wiped from existence. I suspect that those behind this have already taken steps to hinder an investigation from this angle. But...
Does that...
No. There is one ray of hope. One place in Fontaine that they would find almost impossible to threaten. And that is the archives kept by Chief Justice Neuvillette. If the Oceanette you met is one of the young women who went missing recently, we should be able to find some related information there.
So Neuvillette maintains an archive of case files? In that case, let's go talk... Aren't you coming along, Navia?
No, it's nothing. The Palais is right up ahead. Come on.
Please state your business here. The Chief Justice is presently occupied with official matters. This place does look pretty heavily...
Hey, don't you recognize us?
Huh? Who are you? Just to be clear, I don't care who you are or who you might be related to. Our rules make no exceptions.
See? They've got great discipline, too.
Yep. Paimon can tell. If you're here just to crack jokes, I can point you...
No. What I meant to say is, shouldn't you remember us from a few days ago? We were at the trial of the great magician Linny.
Oh, yes, I remember. I read about it in the Steambird.
We're here today to report and archive some information on a follow-up case.
Is that even a thing?
Of course. Don't worry. We're here on a fit...
All right, then. I'll let you through. The Chief just...
Thanks.
Please come in. It's all right. Please let me know how I'm...
So you're not mad at us?
We're looking for a man called Vacher. He may have been an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case. If we can find him, we may be able to...
I see. In that case, please wait here a moment while I browse through the files.
Who knew that Neuvillette would be so easy to talk?
Unfortunately, I'm quite certain that no one by the name of Vacher has been involved in any case, criminal or civil. There are no records of him either in the files or in my memory.
Traveler, what if it was really just a dream?
Is that so? All right, then.
Ahem. Miss Navia, I can understand how you feel. Your father, Callus, was a true...
And what are you trying to say, Monsieur Neuvillette? Are you trying to console me? Extend your sympathy? Or just express some tendril of regret? No. You are not trying to do any of that. I can hear it in your voice. It's just like last time.
After my father took his place in the duelist ring, I pushed through the guards to talk to you as a last resort. You even told me then that you thought there was something fishy with the case, yet you still allowed the duel to go ahead. In your eyes, the value of a human life is nothing compared to those cold laws you hold so dear. If you truly regret my father's death, why didn't you give me the power to stop him from throwing his life away? Why did you just let him die, despised and hated by all? Everything was hanging on a thread at that moment. Just the tiniest effort could have changed everything. There are still so many things. If you really have no heart, then just look me in the eyes. I, Navia, will show you the true meaning of regret.
I'm sorry, Miss Navia.
You and my father are truly alike. It's not so much that you can't feel, but that you would never... Oh, well. In any case, everyone already knows full well. My apologies for taking my emotions out on you, Monsieur Chief Justice. Let's go, Traveler and Paimon.
Navia, are you okay?
I'm fine. Rain. It's raining.
You're right. Wasn't it still sunny when we went into the building?
Now that I think of it, on the day my father was convicted of murder...
What is it? Did you think of something?
Yeah, he was outside. It was uncovered and the rain could fall there. Why? Do you think the rain could... That thought has occurred to us before. We've even expanded the search area to try to account for that, but didn't find anything of value. Oh? Wait.
So you're saying that the true murderer could have been turned into water and then got washed away with the rain? Yeah, and if that's what had happened, then no one would have believed your dad, even if he explained what he saw to the authorities.
I really think I found a true genius for a partner. All right, let's go to Poisson. With this new lead in...
Yeah, we're gonna make progress for sure this time.
Do you want to go with me now? Or do you want... Great.
Whoa, what a huge ship! Why would a ship be anchored at a place like this?
There's no need to be so surprised. My father was the one who asked for it to be built like this. Perhaps a gigantic and glamorous ship embodies discovery, opportunity, ambition, and conquest. It symbolizes Spina di Rosula's bright and limitless future.
And Paimon thought you were bluffing when you... Paimon was confused why a group with such a history would live in the sewers. But now that Paimon has seen this ship...
Well, Poisson is where Spina di Rosula began, after all. we're back!
Apologies for the wait, Demoiselle. You said before that you still had some business at the...
About that. It's because my partner here reminded me of something really important. You see, what if my father's case had something... You still remember, right, Malus?
Yes, the case was quite similar to that of Mr. Linney's. Both...
Could you tell us a bit more about what happened before?
Yeah, of course. Many years ago, something called synth began to gain popularity in Poisson. At a glance, it was a kind of drink that could excite your mood and produce many pleasant hallucinations.
Wait! Didn't that guard guy who turned into water also mention that the primordial water could be used to produce some kind of potion?
Yes, he did. Considering what we know now, it's almost certain that synth is created using water from the primordial sea. If you drink synth for an extended amount of time, you'll suffer many side effects, such as losing the ability to focus or control your emotions. And if you were to stop drinking it completely, you'll experience flashes of paranoia and anxiety while lacking energy to do anything. It's an extremely dangerous substance. As he oversaw Poisson, my father was compelled to put a stop to synth abuse and called for a complete ban of it.
Boss's uncompromising attitude incurred the synth vendor's wrath, but no matter how much they threatened or bribed him, he refused to yield. Not only that, Boss became determined to find the mastermind behind the synth operation and put an end to the problem once and for all.
Yes, but the enemy was very cunning. So he could never get anything out of the dealers, all of whom only sold the stuff and weren't privy to the rest of the operation. Recognizing that, my father decided to contact the dealers in secret and cultivate personal relationships with them. Finally, he was able to convince someone to become his informant. The man's name was Jacques. He felt greatly ashamed about his work after seeing many families destroyed by synth abuse. That night, my father hosted a banquet at his countryside estate. He planned to meet up and exchange information with Jacques over some food. But then, we heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. We raced to the scene and found my father, still holding a gun, and Jacques, who was already—
Huh? How did that happen?
Sounds just like Lenny's case, doesn't it? In both cases, the culprit seemed obvious, but neither appeared to have any motive at all. Looking back on it, though, I now believe the most important clue was something we all overlooked at the time. There were pieces of clothing left at the scene.
Precisely. It's all thanks to you that I made the connection now. Back then, we all just thought they were some costumes that Jacques used to disguise himself at the banquet. But, considering it now, it's almost certain that they belong to a third person at the scene. With one extra person, we'll also need to reconsider why the 2 shots were fired. You're right. We still don't know what happened. But my intuition tells me that
Jacques was an empathetic man who was infinitely remorseful for his past actions. It's unlikely that he turned on Boss with 0 warning. I think this third person. On that note, however, even though this will not please you, demoiselle, as your and your father's butler, I must still offer a word of warning. Our opponent is insidious and cruel. They are extremely difficult. Even though Spina de Rosula has lost most of its former glory, Poisson has welcomed a new time of peace, and we have been allowed. There is no need to follow your father's path. It would be both wise and in line with Boss's wishes to step back.
If that's indeed what he wished for, then he should have told me that himself. Was I not the closest person to him? And yet, I was the one most kept in the dark. What was the point of him dying without sharing any of the secrets he knew? Did he manage to protect anything in the end? Synth is still here. Callus the Unfaithful is still his epithet. And Spina di Rosula is barely... Did he think I'd just accept his... I've never accepted that. Ever. Not since that day. And so I want to find out the real answer for everyone's sake. For the missing girls.
Navia.
This is indeed the best moment to act. Your partner appears to be quite reliable, and...
So you do know something else, Malus?
Yes, I do. In fact, even before that banquet, but what drove all the tensions to the boiling point was the revelation that you, demoiselle, had been selected as the next target to disappear.
What?
Boss also didn't tell you that he had been diagnosed with a rare illness. The doctors told him that he had no more than 5 years left to live. And the serial disappearances case caused him great anxiety. 5 years was nowhere near enough time to resolve this long-standing conflict. But once he passed away, all the danger would pass on to you. Knowing all of this, he decided to use one final intimidation tactic before his death. He claimed to have already gotten his hands on some key incriminating evidence for the other side, and even told some members of Spina di Rosula about the details. But as long as you remained safe, he would not share the evidence with the public. If something were to happen to you, then he and all those he told would immediately expose all they knew about Synth and the disappeared victims.
Right, so nobody would be able to get off scot-free.
As we've seen, Boss's tactic has worked. Even though Boss has been gone for a long time, the other side has not tried to take Demoiselle's life.
No, I don't believe it. He never appeared to look sick to me.
No father wants their daughter to see them weak and haggard, especially someone as proud as Boss. To him, dying in a duel and suffering lasting dishonor as the Unfaithful was still far preferable than losing face in front of his daughter.
So he chose to die in silence, so that he could protect me.
I'm afraid you're not understanding this correctly, Demoiselle. What Boss wanted to hand to you was not a parasol, but a sword. If Boss's spirit could hear you telling me that you want to find the answer for the sake of everyone involved, I'm sure he'd be
That fool. Couldn't he have just given it to me straight? No. He might have set up everything precisely because he never thought I'd be able to understand him. Is that the amount of confidence he had in me? And what if I was never able to make it to where I am now? Yeah. I suppose that's true. With the way he'd set things up, if I had wanted, I could have just... But thankfully, he rarely talked to me about complex matters, and thus understood little of me as a person. In this case, he really didn't need to give me an easy way out. Malus, what was the key evidence that he shared with you?
It's the location where Synth... When he was threatening the enemy, Boss didn't share the specifics of the incriminating evidence he found. But if you want to use it against the enemy, you'll still have to take...
Why? If we know where the place is, can't we just go storming in?
You mustn't forget that we're fighting against a mysterious and dangerous organization that's been in operation for decades. There's no telling what might be lying in wait at their headquarters. We also have no idea what kind of evidence we may be able to find inside, nor what people we may be able to capture. But a single visit to their headquarters would be tantamount to a formal declaration of war. The worst case would be that we leave empty-handed.
Then, in that case, why not work with...
Well, you saw one of them dissolve during Mr. Linney's case. We have no idea just how thoroughly they may have been infiltrated.
That's true. But things are different now. It should be a lot easier to prove the other side's guilt, now that we've connected—
You sound like you've put a lot of thought
I am the butler, after all. I've always been willing to take on any kind of risk for your sake. But considering my relative lack of ability, I've spent my time keeping secrets, performing—
Thank you for all of that, Malus.
Let me think. One conclusion I came to was that when I announced orders to the organization's members on Demoiselle's behalf, I used to deliberately keep a few people in the dark and observe the reactions of the synth vendors. If the vendors didn't change their plans, then the individuals informed of our orders must be innocent. If the vendors packed up and fled, however, then someone must have given them the news. After several rounds of testing and investigative tracing, I've narrowed the suspect list down to 3 people. The first is Florent, Spina de Rosula's senior advisor.
Huh? Florent?
Yes, surprising, isn't it? He was one of the people Boss trusted the most, which also, thanks to his position within Boss's innermost circle, he always knew there's someone else like him too. Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières.
Uncle Marcel.
It's a guild in Poisson. Boss helped it to grow. In the beginning, they were only reselling some daily goods, but now they're...
So, they're like a sister organization of Spina di Rosula?
Yes, you can say that. When we were fighting against the synth dealers, it's a bit difficult to imagine someone using their own money to hunt down themselves.
The final suspect is Thierry, the man responsible for coordinating information between Spina di Rosula and the guards. Although the guards mostly leave us to our own devices, there are still many activities we have to report to the local authorities. Since Thierry is always in the know about our current activities, he could theoretically always plan one step ahead.
I see. To think that the enemy we've been fighting against—
If you want to investigate them, please take every precaution to not alert the quarry. Judging from our
Of course. And thank you.
You're too kind. And before I forget, proving Boss's innocence would also mean clearing him of blame in Jacques' death. After that incident, Jacques' wife and daughter were taken into the Spina's care. They still live in Poisson today. If it might help, you could also pay them a visit.
Aw, thank you so much, Malus!
A new case awaits, my dear partner. I hope we can work together to uncover the truth and end this case.
It is settled, then. Please excuse me, and enjoy your conversation.
Thank you for arranging it.
Excuse me, miss.
Hey, Navia's all quiet. This isn't like her at all.
I'm sorry that I only came to visit after all this time.
If it's about that, there's no need to apologize. After my husband died...
But aren't all of those things nothing compared to the loss of Jacques? I can understand.
You don't understand it.
I didn't know how to face you. Because I didn't know what I could possibly bring. I know. Only the full truth could bring close.
I'm sorry. I appreciate this. On the matter regarding my husband, my daughter and I...
Would you mind sharing it with me?
I always knew that my husband's money was earned through others' suffering. He told me countless times that if he could turn back the clock, he would never go into the synth business again. He had many regrets, and felt that he took the idea of providing for his family too literally. So when Mr. Callis came to him with a proposal, he tried to be as careful as he...
They found out about his betrayal?
Papa didn't say that exactly, but Papa did tell me that I should...
Before he left that day, he told me that he had no choice. It was only later that I realized it was his final farewell to the two of us. I don't know that for sure, but you... Which is why I'm the one who should feel guilty. Callis, even if he fired the shot that killed my husband, it was likely in self-defense.
But Mama, why is Papa still... Papa always...
Well, things aren't...
Yeah.
Then you should hold on to that, regardless of whether he...
Oh.
Thank you. For everything.
Thank you. Even though your personality is quite different from your father's, your determination when you speak is...
You really think that's the first time anyone said that?
Are you okay, Navia?
I'm fine. Don't worry. Let's investigate the 3 suspects next. Florent should be nearby, and we should be able to find Thierry and Uncle Marcel in the city. I'll get myself together on the way, so please don't worry.
Greetings, boss. How may I be of assistance today?
I'm sure you've heard about what happened at the Opera House?
Yeah, I've heard. With something that dramatic, I'm sure.
It also reminded me, on the day after my partner here put the dots together, can you do me a favor and try to recall?
Let me think. Mr. Callis was feeling pretty upbeat that day. So he was drinking and bantering away with them. After that, he told us that he wanted to go get some fresh air. So we let him go without thinking much of it. My first reaction was that Mr. Callis's life was in danger. So I grabbed my holster and made a mad dash. But when I got there, it was already too late. Mr. Callis was still...
So you also remembered...
Indeed. The guard said that the first shot didn't hit anyone, while the second killed Jacques. Reason being, Mr. Callis had left his gun on the table. I even made sure to confirm that before running to the scene. But according to the guards, that doesn't mean he couldn't have had other guns on his person. About the clothes left at the scene that you mentioned, do you think there was a third person there who was turned into water?
At least from our perspective, my father had no reason to kill. So the gun he was holding probably belonged to...
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But hold on. If that's what had happened, he didn't even want to face the Oratrice machine. And Chosen's, did he lose all faith in the courts after seeing
About that, Malouse told me a thing or two. So I'll tell you everything.
I understand. And if I may just say one more thing. The whole Callis... Many people have laughed at me for still calling him Mr. Callis. But it was Mr. Callis's trust that allowed me to rise through the ranks of Spina, no matter what others might say.
Don't worry. I will... You and all our other comrades at... Hey, Thierry! it's me.
Oh, now, what brings you here, Miss Navia?
Oh, so you've caught news?
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm also a member of the guards, you know. The way you make it sound, people would think I was sent off to Poisson because I had done something wrong.
Are you sure there isn't a little bit of truth in that? Under normal circumstances, shouldn't you have been called back to the city already?
I mean, where I work is really up to me. Let's just say I enjoy the ambiance of Poisson. Callis did a fantastic job running the town, building Spina di Rasula from the ground up and clearing many obstructions in my way. It would be next to impossible for me to find a similarly easy but high-paying job in the city. Anyway, enough chit-chat. Are these two
Yes. These two are my partners. What happened at the Opera House made us realize that Lynn—
Ah, I get it. You think there might be more to the case now that if you want to go through the original files from—
That'd be much appreciated.
Of course. Why do you ask? We definitely can't use them to forcefully get more evidence for your
Well, you see, just recently. So, if you hypothetically wanted to do something against me, all you—
Then you think too highly of my abilities. If I had to make an analogy, when you order a dish, the chef will make it for you. You can ask the chef to cook, but not to massage your shoulders or carry your baggage. If you try to make unreasonable demands, the chef would just think you're out of your mind and ignore you completely. The same goes for me and my Gardamex. Removing a serial number is also not as easy as you might think. There are a lot of complex steps to it, so I can promise you, those mecha were definitely private units. They're certainly not cheap. So, whoever their owner is must be super rich, powerful, or...
Oh, then you're officially in the clear, Thierry.
Oh, well, thank you for the vote. Jokes aside, I'd like to wish... I'll be staying in the city for a little while, so just come find me if you...
Which is more valuable, unlimited Mora?
Hello. How may I help you?
I'm here to see Marcel. Could you please let him know? You can just say Navia's looking—
Sure. I will let him know right away.
Ah, Navia, hello. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm not as young as I used to be, so my legs are giving out a bit.
Oh, it's all right, Uncle Marcel. There's no need to stress. I just wanted to talk to you briefly about what happened in the Opera House. I'm sure you saw everything too, right?
Yes, I've never seen anything so strange.
Oh, you were at the Opera House too?
That's right. I went there with Navia to see the magic show. Who knew it would turn into a whole... I also witnessed your marvelous sleuthing work. To beat the Hydro Archon at her own game on her own turf, I can already imagine everyone in Fontaine discussing your exploits over a few glasses of wine.
Oh, Paimon doesn't want to become the...
Apologies. It's just how Fontaine is as a nation.
Uncle Marcel, you've also noticed that other thing, right?
Yes. I was reminded of your father's case right away.
Exactly. I still don't have much solid proof, but I can sense that the other—
Oh, and...
We were attacked on Araneus by some unnumbered Gardamex. And there was also an attempt to get me to drink water from the Primord.
If not for the vigilance of my partner, I probably—
Oh, you're giving us too...
Alas, It seems things are heating up again. The peace that Callus sought so dearly will soon become But rest assured, Navia, Poisson will always remain a safe haven for you. If you're scared, you can always return there. If anyone dares to lay their hands on you there, the
Thank you, Uncle Marcel. Do you have any new thoughts on my...
About that. Sorry. The confrérie was responsible for that banquet, so I was out and about the whole time making sure things... Then I heard the sound of a gunshot, and the rest was history.
Oh, it's okay. No need to push yourself.
Sounds good. Just all my wealth comes from Callus's patronage and support.
Being skilled at something doesn't ask you work.
We've talked to all 3 suspects, purely based on their conversations with me.
None of them sounded particularly suspicious.
I suppose that's to be expected, though. If a single conversation... Anyway, even though we didn't make a breakthrough, let's still compile what we were able to find.
But where should we start? Ah, you're right! Florent mentioned that Callus probably only ended up with the gun because of circumstance.
According to Jacques' family members, he already told them that he had been discovered, and that he had no choice before he left home that day. If I had to guess, he probably received an order from the synth boss to kill my father. Had he refused, he and his family's lives would have been...
So, Jacques fired the first shot?
Oh? And why is that?
Ooh, that's a good point. Jacques probably already knew that he was just being used as a tool for murder. And once he had completed his mission, he'd be of no more use to it.
So, what would make more sense from his perspective would be to turn his back on the Order and seek protection from my father. Makes sense. But without evidence besides Jacques, the attack from the Gardamex has been bothering me quite a bit. It's obvious that our enemy has become more antsy after the secret of the...
Do you think he knew, even then, that we'd follow this lead to the end?
Given everything that's happened since, it's quite pop. But who among the 3 suspects would have the ability to control privately owned Gardamex? Uncle Marcel? My father did really trust him. And they worked together on a large number of projects. Maybe that's how he got to know Jacques. And with funds from the confrérie, he could also afford a large number. Still really hard for me to imagine, though. Also, wouldn't this mean he has been spending a whole lot of mora and energy to fight his own synth business? Thierry, you say? Huh. But I didn't feel like he was lying when he was talking to us.
Yeah. Had he actually tampered with the mecha, if the mecha were taken from the guards, it should be pretty easy to find out what...
Florent? But as Spina di Rosula's advisor, his work mostly deals with personnel and security.
So you're saying he's too broke to afford a mecha army?
Exactly. He can't. And even if he could, I don't think he would be able to dispatch a whole group so quickly. Who could it be? You know, if you think everything through...
Could we be missing other suspects? Malus didn't know about the people turning into water thing when he narrowed it down to these three, did he?
Malus has always been very reliable, and his judgment of others' trustworthiness has been fair. The suspect is knowledgeable about the Spina's internal affairs, has the means to dispatch Mecha to assassinate us, and possesses significant intellect and foresight. Even if I don't want to believe it, I'm starting to see how things could all tie back to Uncle Marcel.
Well, we still have another trump card on top of all the theorizing and speculating.
Yes, Malus did say that charging straight in there would be extremely risky. We need far more solid proof, but—
Navia, here you are. Oh, I've been looking—
Huh? Aren't you the guy from the guard?
Yeah. News came from Irenaeus just after you left.
Wasn't that place built specifically for holding—
I know. But they said the person they're putting on trial is a Fatui harbinger called Tartaglia.
What? Is that someone you know?
Yeah, we know him. Maybe even a little too well.
Well, he's been accused of being the true culprit behind the serial disappearances case. It's absurd, don't you think?
Wait, how? None of—
That's what I thought was strange about it. If the charge against him stands, then it'll be next to impossible to get the guards to support any of our planned
Right, because they'll think they've already—
Yeah, and it'll be all—
I understand. Huh? Split up? What do you mean? Since this is a trial about the serial disappearances case, you're right. This is our I won't have any chance of making that charge stick, though, unless we find more evidence. It'll be up to you to make it back in time.
We'll help you.
Demoiselle, please allow us to accompany you.
I'm ready.
Malus, Silver, when—
We heard that you'll be leaving Poisson. It's our hope that...
See you then! Now that Navia has set out for Irenaeus, we should also get going. The location has already been marked on the map, so let's head over. Huh. According to Malus's info, the synth production base is underwater. Let's go and try to find the entrance. Finally found it! Huh. So this is the entrance that leads to the synth production base. Ah, you're right. And Navia's probably arguing.
It would appear that I must repeat my question again, Mr. Tartaglia. Do you accept the charge that you are the true culprit behind the serial disappearances case?
To be perfectly honest, I don't understand your country's complicated court system or the reason why I'm being charged with something I've never even heard of. However, I did hear that people who have been charged can choose to participate, in which case, as long as I accept the charge, I can have an all-out I've got to admit, that's one of the most When I privately sparred with her last time, she was obviously holding back. Real disappointing.
understand. You're currently—
Oh? Sounds like the Hydro Archon. Then why don't you duel me too? I'm the kind of student that learns best in the heat of battle.
No. That's not what I meant.
Alas, it would appear that communication with the defendant is going poorly, and we have made very little progress. In that case, let me explain everything from the very beginning again. The goal of this trial is to determine the culprit.
That case had nothing to do— Huh? What's going on?
Why is she—
I told you it couldn't be one of the fortuitous—
Miss Navia, this is the second time you've interrupted the court proceedings. I only tolerated your behavior last time because you were able to provide the court with a key eyewitness. But that was an exception rather than standard court protocol. I can—
Oh, please. Did you ever think I had any respect for this place's pointless— We can put that discussion aside for now. I'm not— And if my charges prove true, then—
Oh, a young lady has charged in and offered to clear my name. How fascinating. Well, I'd gotten half bored to death by all these— So, Your Honor, is there nothing else—
You may take a seat for now in the audience, but that doesn't mean the suspicions against you have been lifted. Now then, Miss Navia, who—
That person is— Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières! Huh? What confrérie?
I've heard of them, but weren't they Spina di Rosula's sister organization?
Oh, is this going to be a friends to enemies type situation?
Please let me remind you, Miss Navia, that charging someone is an incredibly serious matter. Committing to the charge also means taking on the legal responsibilities associated with it. And if the charge fails, depending on the circumstances, you may also be charged.
Yes.
In that case, I declare the charge to be valid. Miss Navia and members of the guards, please contact Mr. Marcel right away. Mr. Marcel, you will not require an attorney. Is that correct?
Apologies. It all just happened, so I think an attorney won't be necessary. This is probably just a misunderstanding.
Very well. In that case, since both sides have now—
I would like to take everyone back to 3 years ago. Only through elucidating what really happened in that case can we connect all—
Navia, do you really think that I was the one who killed your father? Come on, why would I do that? Callus was my benefactor, and remember, both you and I only ran to the scene when we heard the sound of a gun. If that's enough to make me a suspect, wouldn't that make it—
I think there's no point in getting into the specifics right now. The audience doesn't even have the big picture yet. Even I'm struggling to remember some details of that case.
Exactly correct, Your Honor. I must refresh everyone's—
I see. In which case, I will recount the findings about that case as originally recorded by Maison Gardiennage. On the day of the murder, Spina di Rosula hosted a large banquet in a countryside estate owned by the Confrérie of Cabrières. During the banquet, all attending guests heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. When the guests arrived at the scene, they found the primary suspect, Callus, holding a gun, while his acquaintance, Jacques, lay dead from a gunshot wound. The guards' investigation did not recover any other firearms from the scene. As a result, they concluded that the suspect's first shot must have missed, while the second must have taken Jacques' life. The suspect did not dispute this conclusion, and also declined to defend himself in court. Instead, he chose to prove his innocence through a duel. Callus was defeated by champion duelist Clarande in the ensuing duel, and soon succumbed to the injuries. These are the known facts about the case.
The one with the motive to kill was Jacques, not my father. And even so, in truth, the third person shot Jacques first, and was shot in turn by my father when my father seized the gun from him. After that, the true culprit turned the third person into water, erasing all... Thank you for the summary, Your Honor. Of course, the guard's conclusion appeared quite sensible to us at the time. However, we should revisit the case now that we've gained new information about the abilities of water from the primordial sea. The testimony of the victim's family confirms that Jacques had thoughts of assassinating Callus when he set out for the banquet. However, in the end, he reconsidered, and instead shared everything with Callus. Unfortunately for Jacques, the true culprit had already considered this possibility, and had... This assassin first shot Jacques, then turned to shoot Callus, only for Callus to wrestle the gun from him and kill him instead. A pile of clothing was found at the scene. The guards once believed they were used by Jacques as a but now it is clear that the clothes were proof that there was... Since it was raining that day, the culprit was confident that they could use the rain to wash away all traces of their dissolved accomplice. Realizing this, the true culprit caused the hired assassin to dissolve into water, leading everyone to believe Callus was responsible for Jacques' murder.
So that's what happened. Wait, you're telling me something as dangerous as water from the primordial...
What a great theory. It also explains Callus's and Jacques' respective motives.
Mr. Marcel, you are the one being charged with the crime. You should provide...
But I think I agree with everything Navia just said. In fact, there was nothing in her...
Then, may I ask some questions? In my opinion, we primarily need... 1. Do you have the evidence to back up your claims?
I'm afraid not. At least not at this very moment.
If you don't...
I may not have the evidence with me, but I know where I could go to collect it. If we look up the deserted clothes against a record of people who went missing around the same, we should be able to, considering the serial disappearances case. The guards probably kept careful records of all missing persons from...
That makes sense to me. Monsieur Neuvillette, I would consider this to be a reasonable...
Why do I feel like Farina's acting a little differently today?
Maybe she's scared of embarrassing herself again?
Alternatively, she's become more diligent after charging an innocent citizen in the last trial.
My second question has to do with the ensuing duel. If the truth is indeed as you described, then why didn't Mr. Callus explain himself in court? If he had testified that a person had been dissolved,
I've thought about this too, and the answer is actually pretty simple. He felt the dissolving power of water from the primordial sea. My father could have exposed it for all to see, but he chose. At that time, Spina di Rosula was in dire straits, and his reputation had already been shattered. What was certain, however, was that it would paint a gigantic target on my back.
Boss once told me that Demoiselle had already...
What? If the secret had gotten out, the culprit would have fought an all-out war with Espina right there and then. I wouldn't have been the only one in danger. All of us would have stood to lose our... Of course, the guards might eventually figure out the truth of the matter, but what good would that do? How can a hollow verdict protect anyone? Had this opera house ever given my father any kind of confidence in its brand of justice, Spina di Rosula would have had no reason to exist. But by staying silent, we retained the ability to deter our opponents and continue the stalemate. I was able to become Spina di Rosula's president, which made me harder to target, as well as giving me more time to grow and learn. And once I have figured out the truth and stepped up to the challenge, I will do what this opera house cannot, and restore my father's truth and honor back to him.
So, you mean to say, your father intended to die in the duelist's ring?
That's right.
Do you have any proof?
Of course. All you need is to ask his opponent, Clarand. I don't need your apology, your guilt, or your support from the shadows. But since he entrusted his will to you, Clarand, you should tell us the truth about his sacrifice.
So, during the duel, did you believe that Callus was intending to die?
Yes, I did. As a champion duelist, I've fought many battles and taken a countless number of dishonored lives. In my line of work, I've seen all kinds of people give their all for the faintest hope to continue living. Some were determined, others passionate, and some even manic and twisted. Just one look and I can tell if a duelist is hoping to live or if they're looking to die. I hereby swear on my name and honor as a champion duelist that Mr. Callus never intended to leave the ring alive.
Since that's your testimony, I have no more questions. It appears...
I concur. However, Miss Navia, you still have not explained the link between your father's case and the...
Right? What she said was fast...
Wait, weren't they just talking about the serial disappearance?
Of course, Your Honor. The two cases are connected via a matter of timing. In my father's case, the culprit intended to kill both Jacques and Callus. As a result, they planned to act after hearing 2 gunshots. And at the end of Linny's trial, the culprit also only dissolved the victim in front of everyone because they realized they were at risk of being identified. The culprit could only time their actions so precisely if they were already at the scene. Coincidentally, Marcel attended both the banquet and the trial.
So that's why you suspected me. Even after hearing your reasoning, I still can't help but find it a little preposterous. I'm used to it, though. You've always been an impulsive and sentimental child, Navia.
No need to appeal to pain.
I won't try to refute your points one by one, but even if everything you just said was true, can you prove that I was the only person present at both events? On top of that, does a person have to be physically present to control the timing? Can't someone remotely monitor the play?
Don't know what she can say to that.
I know that even with that, you might still think you can reduce the list of suspects with some further investigations, until I'm the only one left on the list. Alas, who won't feel at least a little hurt by an accusation of murder from a girl you see as your own daughter? But if I were to dismiss this completely, you'd also think I'm not being considerate of your feelings. Ah well, let Uncle Marcel teach you another lesson. Do you know what the biggest flaw in your reasoning is?
I suppose you're gonna tell me anyways.
It's timing again. I'm a businessman by trade. From that standpoint, there's no reason for me to kidnap young women. It's a high-risk action with nothing to gain. In addition, I left my home in Snezhnaya when I was young to come to Poisson and work in some trade. My business only thrived when I received Callus's patronage. But the disappearances began before I ever stepped foot in Fontaine.
I do apologize, demoiselle.
No, it's not your fault.
Is there anything else you'd like to say? Would you like to check the date of my first business license against the first known case of the serial disappearances? You can also take a look at my border entry records, or ask my friends and family when I left Snezhnaya for the first time. Could those records and testimonies do something to appease the unspeakable anguish in your heart?
Seems like she got the wrong. At this rate, Navia will be convicted for falsely.
I think you've done a superb job of dissecting your father's feelings as he neared the end of his life. But aren't you going against all of his wishes and expectations? He wished for you to become more rational, collected, and conscientious once you've learned to be more considerate of others' feelings and to stop rushing headlong into things.
This isn't just about me. And the biggest difference between me and the rest of the victims is that I still have the ability to search for the truth. While that same agency has long been taken from them, the people whose families were destroyed by synth abuse, the people who lost their loved ones to the many people's images are flashing before my eyes. I'm sure some are coming. And whose? Is it a man named Vache? Oh, so you do know that name.
I'm merely surprised you'd suddenly say the name of someone I've never even heard of.
I was waiting for you to say that.
There is no escape! Step on up!
Crush!
Shudder! Is it because of this mechanism in the middle? That guy really prepared a lot of stuff for this place. We need to go up, but Paimon doesn't see a way. Let's take a look around. Maybe we'll find a hidden mechanism that'll show us the way up. The water level is rising! Now we can swim to the top! But this is still a ways away from where we need to go. for mercy. Vengeance will be mine. I condemn you. More speed. Crush. Beg for mercy. Shudder. Now the path is clear! Let's go!
Illusion shattered!
Water jet! Good grief! More speed. Flood of frost! Crush!
Shine down!
After all that, we finally made it! Though, as expected, the mastermind isn't here. That's right. Let's see what's written here. Nothing escapes... Callus. Navia's father. Oh, this seems to be an investigation report on him. Yep, it's about this should prove the existence of the third person, right? We still have not determined the exact content of the key information Callus has passed on to certain members of it. The old dog's a real menace to deal with. Even if he abides by the promise he's made to us, he can act whenever he wants to make our lives miserable. The only option left is to remove him from the picture entirely. I concur. Let's send someone to kill him. He won't declare war as long as we don't touch Navia. Oh, seems like we've got a bunch of correspondence between the higher-ups. Oh, look! There's an important-looking basin over here, and it's full of water! That means this is where they make all the synth! If you dilute it with normal water, you'll get synth! Paimon will take notes on this incriminating evidence! what's this over here? Looks like some kind of... Experiment number 16 aims to verify Jacob Ingold's research conclusions on the primordial sea. The experiment was a failure. No individual managed to resurface from the water from the primordial sea. Female specimens 22, 23, and 24 were... Sorry, Traveler. Paimon will try her best. How can someone write something that terrible and you read the rest? Paimon's too scared to keep going. So that's why he... Wait, did he really think he'd be able to find a way just by dissolving people over and over? That's just insane! Huh? Isn't that the name you heard by the fountain? Paimon thought he was an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case. Ah, you mean Vacher is the one who did all of these... experiments? So that's it! Vacher was no victim. No, that's not it either. If that's the case, why would he want people to resurface from the water? In any case... Whoa! There's so much synth here! And so many bottles of ingredients that probably just contain the waters of the primordial sea. Mixing in progress. Ready to drink? Stock sample? Whoa! There's even fruit-flavored synth? Yep! What's all this? Aw, it's a bunch of really pink accessories, a hair tie, a necklace, even a makeup box. Oh, Paimon sees it too, but... What? Huh? You mean the girls from this... And then they were turned into water. And all the boxes of things. These names. That means... Oh, this is terrible. We've looked at almost everything here, and it seems like our theories were spot on, but... Yeah, we haven't found anything that reveals his true identity. No wonder even Neuvillette wasn't able to find anything. That way, even if we bring all this back to the opera, we won't be able to identify the true culprit. Sure thing. You take that side, and Paimon will take this side. Check. Ugh. Nothing at all. And Paimon can't even find snacks either. Whoa, really? Let Paimon see. Vinier. Isn't that Vacher's lover's name? Then you found her dead. Aw. It's just a normal diary chronicling their love story. She was so sweet. So many! A whole page's worth! The final name Marcel. Wait, but Marcel's pretty old. Hey!
And whose image do you see, Marcel? Is it a man named Vacher? Oh, so you...
I'm merely surprised you'd suddenly say the name of someone I've never even heard.
I was waiting for you.
Navia! We're back!
As expected of my partner.
Just how often do you intend to flout the rules of this court?
It's all right, Monsieur Nervalette. Given their confidence,
But the truth of it, Marcel, is that you've always been Vacher.
Huh?
We've investigated your lair. We already know everything. After your lover, Venier, was dissolved, you kept abducting young women to experiment on the hopes of bringing her back to you. You even created Marcel as a new identity and destroyed all records of your past as Vacher.
So that's it. Even the villains in opera performances rarely go that far. And with that, Marcel's motive has now been established.
This information regarding your past also dismantles your prior timing defense. Well, Marcel, do you know where you went wrong?
You fixated your gaze on the lover that passed away, so you never noticed how we...
You also never understood, boss.
Or our determination to see things through.
Your determination.
Mr. Marcel, please speak up now if you would like to defend yourself. Otherwise, the trial will move on to the next stage.
Do you really think I wanted to do any of this? Pay attention to you? What for? Have you ever paid attention to me? Ever empathized with my pain? Ever known how it feels to watch the love of your life dissolve right in front of your eyes? No one helped me. No one even believed me. All those decades ago, even the officers from the Maison Gardiennage were laughing at me. They said there's no way a human being can turn into water. So I must have gone mad from grief. Vinier's death was brushed away by all of you as if it didn't matter at all. Well, now you know, don't you? Ha! Well, it's too late now. You only have yourselves to blame. You set up this ornate opera house in pursuit of your so-called Venier is dead. We promised each other that we would always be together. Wherever she goes, but I'm not from this blasted place. So I can't be dissolved.
Hey, is that water from the primordial sea that he's drinking?
I can't dissolve! Can't dissolve! Can't dissolve! Do you all see? I can't go, I can't follow. So if I can't go where she is, what choice do I have but to try to bring her back? I did all of that, and in the end, that accursed Callus still got the better of me. I spent my entire life living on pins and needles, only to get stabbed by his idiot daughter at the very end.
The suspect is exhibiting signs of mental distress. Guards, please restrain him.
Don't touch me! Don't anybody come near me! I still need to save Venier. A promise. We made a promise. Venier. Please, Vignere, don't think badly of me. All I want to do is fulfill our promise.
At this point, the verdict of this trial is clear. With Mr. Marcel's conviction, the charges against Mr. Tartaglia no longer have any basis.
Fine by me. I was in a bad mood, but after a show like that, I'm actually feeling pretty good.
Traveler, please submit all the evidence you have collected to the guards, so that I might review and summarize the truth behind the serial disappearances case. The man now known as Marcel was originally named Vacher and worked as an adventurer with his partner and lover Vignere. During an underwater expedition, Vignere accidentally came into contact with water from the primordial sea and was dissolved in front. Vacher learned of the primordial water's existence through the work of others and began to kidnap young women for research, with the goal of discovering a method to restore Vignere back to life. To cover his tracks, he invented the new alias of Marcel and began to operate a business in Poisson. During the course of his research, Vacher discovered that a diluted concoction of water from the primordial sea. However, as he accumulated wealth to fund his continued research and expanded the scope, he came into conflict with Spina di Rosula. After exchanging blows with Spina di Rosula for many years, Vacher decided to assassinate. Although the assassination did not go as Vacher expected, he was able to turn Callus into the murder suspect. And just recently, Vacher attempted to frame Linny as the culprit of the serial disappearances case, using a similar method. However, his attempt to frame Linny failed, and the power of water from the primordial sea became public knowledge. This case also exposed enough of Vacher's machinations that he was eventually successfully charged in court. Thus concludes the enigmatic history of the serial disappearances case, with the truth revealed to all. The Oratrice will now deliver the final verdict regarding the charges against Mr. Vacher. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Mr. Vacher is guilty.
Guards! Take Vacher away.
Good. It's what he does.
With that, the serial
We really just witnessed history. Who would have thought the truth?
He's hurt so many innocent people, and now he's finally getting what he deserves. Huh? Are you okay?
Demoiselle, you were absolutely brilliant.
The day our late boss had always hoped for is finally...
Yeah. See, Papa? Spina di Rosula's still doing well with me at the helm.
Well now, hasn't this been a most delicious piece of drama? The villain has been caught, justice has been served, past wrongs have been righted, and it's a big ol' happy ending. Since it's been such a great show, I'll just let the false accusations against me slide. Either way, I've still got some business to attend to. So, if you'll excuse me...
Please wait just one moment, Mr. Tartaglia.
What now? None of this has anything to do with me.
According to court protocol, since this trial was initiated due to a charge against you,
Oh, come on. Is this really necessary? Haven't you already caught the real criminal? Isn't it time for side characters like...
Please respect the laws of Fontaine.
All right, but this sure is a lot of hassle. All I need to do is stand over there, right?
Through evidence presented in the public trial that was just held, it has been established that Mr. Tartaglia has no direct connection to the serial disappearances case. The guilty party has been identified, and thus it is logical to suppose Mr. Tartaglia is innocent of the charges. We now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Mr. Tartaglia is guilty.
What?
Hey! That's not funny! didn't you just say I'm supposed to be innocent? What's with this verdict? Is your justice machine malfunctioning?
Huh? This has never happened before. The Oratrice actually returned a different verdict from the Chief Justice.
I mean, have you ever heard of an innocent Fatui Harbinger? Do you think the Oratrice might have just convicted him on general principle?
But weren't the charges about the serial disappearances case? No matter what else he's guilty of, it shouldn't affect the verdict in this case, right?
The judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal is by law. Guards, please take the suspect.
So this is how justice is done in Fontaine. What a joke. You've got your rules. Well, I've got mine too!
I am sorry. If you have been wronged, we will find the truth. But the rules of the court must be upheld.
Hey, Monsieur Neuvillette, what's going on?
Apologies. This is also the first time I've encountered such a situation. However, according to the rules established all I do is follow court procedure. As for why the Oratrice arrived at the conclusion it did, you should probably ask someone more knowledgeable than me.
Why are you looking at me? I don't know what happened there either. Hey, stop staring at me!
What does Lady Farina mean by that?
She says she has no idea either, but that's
Yeah, so are the verdicts reliable or not? Can results like this really be called justice?
My dearest citizens, did you really think we'd allow an incorrect verdict to be handed out in this court? Did you really believe that the judgment could be mistaken or be the result of some sort of random mishap? Don't tell me you thought even I had been blindsided by the Oratrice's result.
But the way she looked just now, it was pretty...
However, given the state of things, I shall give you an explanation. Everything that just took place, including my supposed shock and bafflement, was a part of an elaborate performance, with every action meant to stir up drama and excitement. And, of course, for every performance, there is a script. Everything has unfolded exactly as I expected from the very beginning. As the embodiment of the very concept of justice, the Oratrice shall never render an arbitrary judgment! If you thought Child had nothing to do with the serial disappearances case, it is only because you've been blinded by the superficial appearance of innocence. Everything he's done, not to mention the danger he poses, are beyond ordinary comprehension and completely unforgivable! All shall be revealed in time. You will come to understand my noble intentions. Now, having said that, although I hate to leave things hanging in suspense...
So she chose to make her escape after all, did she?
So you're saying we shouldn't put much stock into what she just said?
She probably just put on that performance to save face. As for the truth, it's unlikely that she actually has any idea. However, please be assured that I will continue to investigate this case in a personal capacity. Just as I promised, if the judgment has been incorrect...
All right. Even though we feel... After all, he's done plenty of bad stuff. So he should have known he'd go to prison someday, right? Oh, Monsieur Nervalet! That power you showed when you took him down. Who are you really?
I'm the Chief Justice of Fontaine, of course. If officers of the law lack the strength and capability to enforce it,
Hey, what are you doing? Quick, stop him!
Traveler! Hey! Traveler!
Marcel! What are you doing?
Stop resisting arrest! Cease, or we'll add another charge to the list.
No, wait! I just want to ask the Traveler something. I'm not looking to run away. Please, just let me ask this one small thing.
Go on.
Thank you. I was being led away when I finally realized something. Where did you first hear the name Vacher? I erased all records of that name. So, unless...
Are you still trying to prove your innocence? Give it up. You've already been convicted.
Really? You did? You're sure? You met her? But how could that be? How did you manage to do it? The Fountain of Lucine? Then she's been... Please give me a chance to talk to her again. Just let the Traveler take me to the fountain to see her one last time. This is the last request I'll ever make in my life. You can do whatever you want to me afterwards. I don't care.
What? Give an inch and you want to take a mile? Do you think serial killers get to make requests?
Paimon agrees.
This request, is it worth as much to you as your life?
Of course! Wait, no. It's worth even more than my life.
Humans. Will they betray the instinct to live just to satisfy spiritual needs? Very well. I will grant your request.
Your Honor,
I will go with him. You do not need to worry about any escape.
In that case...
Thank you! Is this the place? You said she's here, but what do I need to do to see her?
Yeah, and even Paimon could hear her after drinking that thing. Didn't you just...
Vacher!
Ah!
Yes, that's it! So...
Vignier, it's me! It's me, Vacher!
Vacher? Vacher!
I'm here! Where are you?
Hey, wait! Be careful!
Vignier, is that you? It's me, Vacher! Vignier!
Vacher? Why did you come? Didn't I say? You don't need to look for me. You look a lot older than I remember.
It's been more than 20 years. I've suffered for over all this time. Only the thought of bringing you back has kept me alive. Nothing else mattered to me. I must be dreaming. Who would have thought I'd get the chance to tell you all of my feelings like this? Vignier,
You are my everything. I really don't know how I could live without you.
But Vache, if you ask me, this world would be better off without you.
What are you saying?
If not for you, I would have finished my law degree and probably become a top-tier attorney one day. If not for you, I would have continued to pursue my love of the arts, and my works would have been displayed in the Palais Mermonia itself. If not for you, I would at least have been able to take care of my mother. And she would not have grown old and died alone, with nothing but the tears on her cheeks. It's all because of your selfishness, Vache. It's all because of you.
Wait, you are not Vignier. Who are you?
You're right. I am not Vignier. I am the sacrifices. Every woman who died by your hand, as our bodies dissolved, our consciousnesses flowed back to the primordial sea. Our thoughts circulated endlessly within the primordial sea, and we were no longer individuals, but we became one, just as streams of water come together in the sea. I'm Cressy. I'm Lemony. I'm Azine. The only one I am not is Vignier.
Why? But then, where is Vignier?
She doesn't want to see you anymore. Every tendril of her consciousness is avoiding you. This is what you get for your selfishness. Your selfishness robbed us of our lives and our futures. You said time and time again that you'd do any and everything for her. But did you ever consider whether she'd want to see you do the things that you did? If she would despise you for what you became? You are a liar, a heartless murderer, and a cowardly narcissist. The only thing you are not is Vignier's beloved. From the moment your first victim died and her consciousness merged with Vignier's, she has had nothing but pure hatred for you.
No! Vignier! She can't hate me. Let me see her. Please, have mercy.
You still don't understand. When I said don't look for me, that came from the real Vignier. But on top of that, she also said that because it's her final drop of pity for you. She said that because she knew that if you did come here, we will show no mercy to you.
Vache.
Vache?
Vache.
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 Drown.
Finally, we have some time to do shopping. Gosh, it's really been a long time since we've been able to relax.
Well met, partner. I knew something great was going to happen when I woke up.
Even this weather can't put a damper on the...
It's a pleasure to see you both again.
Oh, hey, Navia! It's been a few days. Paimon's already started to miss you.
Oh, now that I believe. I'm easy to work with and always bring home the bacon. Who Who wouldn't treasure having a partner like me?
Sounds like you're really enjoying life these days, Navia.
It's just been one thing after the other. I've been making non-stop trips between Poisson and the courts in Sen. Everyone from Spina di Rosula organized a memorial for my father. We never held a memorial when he first died, since everyone knew that even if we held one back then. This time, though, everyone in Poisson, and even
So his name's definitely been cleared now.
It's been the dearest wish.
That blasted stubborn fool. I was right to put... Oh, by the way, I ran into Charlotte just after I left... well, maybe it'd be more accurate to say I knew she would be there.
Huh? So you know Charlotte too?
Yeah, way back when I first became the president of the Spina di Rosula. I believe the story was called The True Heart of Dark. To be fair, though, it was a really flattering feature. She was trying to lean on our friendship to get me to do an exclusive piece on the serial disappearances case.
Oh yeah, she told us about that. She's always been...
Anyway, I told her to make sure that when she writes about you guys entering the opera house with the critical evidence, that you both sound really...
Now that's another thing to look forward to. We trust...
Oh, and in other news, I also took Clarisse...
Oh, are you two...
While you were investigating Vaché's headquarters, Clarisse gave testimony on my... It was thanks to her that we were able to turn the tide. I wanted to thank her. I mean, there's also no point in being...
Oh, that's great. Paimon also thought...
Anyway, now that the case has finally been solved, perhaps it will slowly begin to fade from the public consciousness. Oh, actually...
What is it?
I should pay a visit to my father's grave. And on top of that, just...
Miss Navia.
Indeed.
We want to go too. We also...
Sure thing. I'd like you two to share the moment with me. After all.
And in that case, everyone, let's...
Yeah, you're right. Huh. This is where my father's grave is.
Huh? There's someone there already. Wait. That figure. It can't be... Isn't that Dervalette? Why would the Chief Justice be here? Huh? Navia?
My apologies. I should have asked before coming to pay my respect.
Don't say that.
Sorry about that.
Oh, I was trying to say there's no need for you to apologize. I wanted to show my father how much I've grown. But still, I doubt I've grown to the point that even the Chief Justice would feel compelled to apologize to me over and over.
In that case, I will stop apologizing for now.
You really could use some pointer in any case. Why did you come to Poisson?
Well, ever since that day, I've been turning a question over and over in my head. Just what is justice anyway? There was once a time when I didn't want to believe that there could be anything more important to humans than life itself. Oh, rather than that, it's probably more truthful to say I didn't believe humans were capable of resisting the most basic instinct of living things. That they could rebel against their own nature, or consider certain things to be more important than their own lives. Which is also why I didn't stop your father from beginning that fateful duel. I believed that a truly innocent man would never throw away his life like that. That there was nothing, should have, but Mr. Callis proved me utterly, and if not for his sacrifice. Mr. Callis made the choice he did for his daughter, for his associate, and in the end, from a certain perspective, a justice that's higher than life itself. So, you asked me why I came here. I just wanted to say my apologies to Mr. Callis in person. This regret has filled me with a sadness that has haunted me for days. That high and mighty chair in the Opera Epiclese indeed insulates one from many important things. Spina di Rosula, thank you so much for your hard work and perseverance.
I'm sorry for being mad at you before. So, you're actually one of those types that's cold on the outside.
Sorry about that. So...
Didn't I just say...
So Navia... Let's not not disturb them for now. We can wait. Paimon's never paid respects at someone's grave before. Huh? Oh, Paimon didn't know that was a thing? Oh, no. Paimon hopes no... Anyway, Neverlet is still standing...
Oh, it's you two. Did Miss Navia invite you?
Mm-hmm. We ran into Navia on the streets today, so we just followed her...
I see.
Well, it's pretty hard to run into you like this, since you're usually super busy.
Please feel free. Though outsiders, you helped us solve one of the greatest mysteries in Fontaine, and it would be my pleasure.
So, at court, the bad guys referred to that special water as water from the primordial sea.
Truthfully, that name is already quite accurate. I can only surmise that Vacher and his ilk only learned of its nature and existence after extensive research. There used to be a special sea on the surface of this planet. The nature of its seawater was rather different from that of the sea we know today. Most of Tevat's life forms were first born in that special sea. You could say it nurtured much of the life on this planet.
Huh. So it really was where everything began.
But today, the primordial sea no longer exists on the planet's surface. What Vacher discovered must have been some kind of special case.
Huh. So that's how it is. Oh, you really know everything, Monsieur
Indeed. Why would the primordial sea, which was known to engender and nurture life, suddenly reverse itself and devour life instead? To be frank, that also doesn't match my understanding of this world and its laws. There must still be some unknown... Is there anything else you... That the sea levels will rise and everyone will be dissolved in water, leaving Farina crying alone on her throne, but the sins of the people will be finally washed away for good. Does that appropriately summarize the version you've heard?
That's right! It was Linny that told us back then. And...
Yes, up to the present, I think we reached a point where we have no choice but to confront this prophecy directly. Rumors have it that this prophecy is rooted in the last words the former Hydro Archon left to the world before she passed away.
A prophecy? Of the former Hydro Archon?
2 parts of the prophecy have already proven correct. The rising sea levels, and the ability of the people of Fontaine to be dissolved. Speaking of the prophecy, Farina has also always taken it quite seriously. Indeed, she has been collecting information and intelligence from across Tevat for this purpose. If the rumors were true, then perhaps this prophecy is the conundrum left to Farina by her predecessor.
But with Farina being the way she is...
Is there anything else you'd like to ask me about? My apologies. My investigation. However, I still believe the judgment of the Oratrice was not...
But you also said...
For many years, I have been quite aware that the Oratrice does not simply mechanically repeat the verdict that I give on each case. As a divinely created mechanism, the people's unified faith in the concept of justice is integrated into it. Not only can it produce the incredible power of indemnitium, but it likely also possesses other traits, such as self-awareness. Which is all to say, I have been prepared for a situation like this for a long time.
So when Linny told us that he heard a human voice from the room where the...
I was not aware such a thing had occurred. Perhaps that could serve to prove my conjecture. I will add that to the... In any case, I am inclined to believe that the Oratrice does have a methodology all its own. We just do not have enough information. Based on Farina's reaction, I doubt even she had any idea what was going on. She managed to bluff her way through it, though, with her time-tested twin tricks of bravado and drama. While we do intend to get to the bottom of this, for now, we regret to say that the Fatui Harbinger will just have to bide his time in the fortress of Meripede. If we did incorrectly convict him of crimes he did not commit, we will most certainly compensate him to the fullest extent allowed by the law.
If you ask Paimon, the only compensation he'll want is a no-holds-barred fight with you.
Is there anything else you'd like? Your sibling? Another blonde-haired traveler? I'm sorry, but I've never seen anyone who matches that description. If he ever stepped foot in Fontaine, I'm sure he followed our laws to the letter and had no reason to appear on the stage of the opera Epicles. Is there anything else you'd... Very well. It was my honor. It will soon be time for me to leave this blissful
You really are super busy, Monsieur Neuvillette. Paimon thought you only...
Crime and villainy do not have the day off, and so justice must work around the clock as well.
All right. You've... Huh? Paimon just noticed that the rain has stopped.